Hey guys, it has been a minute, but I have some fights up in Vermont, and when we travel, we make sure that we go on an adventure anywhere we're going to fight. So we're up to Vermont. I want to finish off the southern part of the state, but we're going to start in the northern part for a day. The promoter has put us up in apparently an insane Airbnb, and from there, we're going to head to the southern part of the state and see if maybe I can finish off everything on my list. So the promoter put us up in a beautiful Airbnb with amazing landscapes. It is located in Brookfield, Vermont, and I will post the link to the Airbnb in the description below if you would like to check it out. It was really one of the nicest places that we've ever stayed, and I can't recommend it enough. Yo, they put us in a nice house. Like, wow. I've stayed in a lot of cool hotels doing this job, but this is next level. Okay, well, listen, last night, pretty decent.
White shirts. Nice. Couple nice combos, wins.
1, 2 of the 3 fights. Everybody didn't go so good, but now gonna drive around Vermont in the southern section, which I haven't really done much exploring of. Our first hike of the day is gonna be at Quechee Gorge in Quechee, Vermont. We started at the visitor center. Do note there is a detour due to construction. Known as the Grand Canyon of Vermont, Quechee Gorge is a local favorite for swimming, so don't expect to hike this alone. Don't forget to cross the road afterwards and get a snack or check out the view from the bridge. On your way to Woodstock, Vermont, don't miss the chance to stop at the Tapsville Covered Bridge, one of the prettiest bridges in the entire state. We stopped at Worthy Kitchen and had a smash burger and falafel burger for an early lunch. We would highly recommend stopping here. Woodstock, Vermont is known as Vermont's prettiest little town. I would definitely agree. It has an amazing number of restaurants and shops to browse in, and this cozy little private corner next to a stream. We of course stopped at the local library like we always do, and checked out a few of the stores.
And the life that we're living is in vain, and all the sunshine we've been waiting.
Also located in Woodstock, Vermont is the Marsh-Billings-Rockefeller National Historic Park. The historical park consists of both a museum and a historic home that you can tour through. And if you're into farms, there's also a tourable farm. We skipped that because I grew up near a bunch of farms, so I wasn't particularly interested and it didn't really fit into the schedule. But this is definitely one of the nicer houses that I've been able to explore.
What you see here is electricity.
At the Rockefeller National Historic Park, we just took the quick free open house tour. If you want to tour the second and third floors, you have to sign up for a tour, but wow, they fill up fast. They do cost money. If you're into farms, right across the street is the Billings Farm. They're doing a special sheep day, but that would have been $19 per adult. A little pricey since I've been to many farms, but the architecture on the inside is really amazing. And there's even hiking trails here, but it doesn't quite fit into the schedule. And then I believe we're off to a waterfall. I'm at Thundering Falls. It's actually part of the Appalachian Trail, just in the Green Mountains here. Should be about a half-mile out and back. This is one of the most iconic sections of the AT. It's like a 900-foot long boardwalk and then a very large waterfall that, even though I'm all the way by the parking, I can actually already hear it. I don't think that's even half a mile, but it's already here. That took like 2 minutes to walk to. It's definitely not half a mile. I've done enough half miles to know this is, if they said the boardwalk's 900 feet, it's like another 300-400 feet after that. So no, definitely not. It's neat though that they, Appalachian Trail south and north is right on the other side of the path. It's pretty cool. Way more people here than I thought there'd be. There's houses on the map, although you don't see anything coming down, but right next to the trail are the houses are right there. So who knew that this was such a tourist attraction? It's a really nice waterfall. I guess it's the 4th tallest in Vermont, I think I read. So it's about as north as we're gonna go on this trip. Gonna start heading south. We got a bit of a drive to get to our next spot. The Calvin Coolidge State Historic Site is both a museum and a fully preserved village in which President Calvin Coolidge grew up and was sworn in as president. Your fee will include a tour, should you choose to take it, of all of the buildings that matter. Don't forget to check out the cheese shop for locally produced Vermont cheeses. This is a museum full of very old cheese making equipment. The tour is led by very knowledgeable docents who will be happy to answer your questions and share an absolute litany of stories about the president and his entire life.
It was first fired off in 1830 to announce the election of William Henry Harrison.
The best part about the tour, other than seeing all the workings of the village itself, is the fact that you get to tour both his birth home, where he grew up with his parents, and also the house that he was sworn in as president. So he lived in this village his entire life, and basically everything in there is historically theirs or accurate to the time period that was recovered from the area. Really one of the best tours that I've been on in any historic home of any kind, anywhere in the country, and absolutely worth the price of admission, which on the day we went, I believe was $13. On our way to our hotel, we made a stop at the Green Mountain Sugar House to grab some maple creamies, Vermont's local version of soft serve ice cream flavored with maple. We stayed at the Toll Road Inn at Manchester, Vermont, and this is just such a cool retro hotel from the 1960s that has been lovingly restored by the couple that currently owns it. All the furniture and everything inside is super retro, so if you're into that, this is awesome. It's also one of the more affordable options in the area. I didn't know, but Manchester is an expensive area with a lot of money, so a great option for budget travelers as well. Downtown Manchester, Vermont is a slice of contemporary Americana with a lot of upscale dining options, and one of the largest independently owned bookstores that I've had the pleasure of exploring. Unfortunately, all the restaurants were booked out, so we had to drive up the road to the Copper Grouse in order to have dinner. This hotel restaurant was gorgeous and the food was quite spectacular. I got the steak special and we finished with a French blueberry dessert. One thing to know about this town is that things get open pretty late. Little Rooster Cafe is one of the only places to get breakfast, but luckily it's delicious. Now we're at the parking lot for Lye Brook Falls, which is in southern Vermont. All right, and it's gonna be a 2.1 mile out, 2.1 mile back trail with about 950 feet of elevation to go see a impressive waterfall. Unfortunately, it hasn't rained, at all this week, so I don't know what we're gonna find, but hopefully it's gonna be as nice as the pictures. Here we are. Pretty decent water flow. Not the craziest amount it could be, but you come down the path here, and then you got to scramble up from that rock platform. And it's only slightly sketchy. So there is another viewing platform on a little mini trail above. I'll be honest, it's pretty washed out. It's less sketchy to climb up all the little slippery rocks in the waterfall than it actually is to go up that thing. But it wasn't a bad hike. It's pretty uneventful. I wouldn't describe it as like a gravel trail, but about as close as it comes to that. Very gentle. In the middle is a relatively steep section, and that's about it. Definitely just over 2 miles out. All the way back is going to be downhill basically the entire way, so should make pretty good time. It took about 1 hour 10 to get out here. Wasn't too bad, but I didn't really stop. And then I bet you on the way back, you're looking at probably 45 minutes since it's all downhill. So definitely worth coming out and visiting. It is the middle of summer, and that's probably not doing it justice, but come springtime, I'm sure that thing is just absolutely, wild. So Lye Brook Falls in the Green Mountains. Hildene is the name of the summer mansion that President Abraham Lincoln's son built in Vermont to be his summer home. Keeping up with the times, the house has a built-in organ that you're going to hear during the tour. This self-guided tour takes you through all of the servant quarters, bedrooms, and living areas that the family enjoyed each summer. Lincoln's son was the head of the Pullman Company, which controlled all of the train lines in America. To say he had a lot of money would be the understatement of the century. In fact, he ran the entire company out of an office in this very house. This is yet another example of a phenomenal historic home that you can tour in Vermont. Make sure to also explore the 2 miniature museums upstairs, exploring the life of his wife and his father. In fact, Abraham Lincoln's hat is on display here. The grounds outside are immaculately kept to this day, and he even had an observatory with a telescope, because what else do you do with all of that money? Please note that each section of the property is spread out, and so transportation by golf cart is provided. I don't recommend walking. The second area that you'll visit on the tour is the actual train cart that he had built to transport himself and his rich friends all over the country. This was lovingly restored for over $1 million, and the history that the docents give during the tour is only matched by the actual interior quality of the car. Built with Cuban mahogany and gold leaf paint, this is an absolute picture of what the Gilded Age was all about. In front, you will see the servants' quarters for a chef and a butler, and how small and undecorated they are. The last area of the tour that some people chose to skip is the goat dairy farm. This is still active and people pick up their goat milk, but you can visit and see all of the baby goats. And yes, you're welcome to pet them. Skyline Drive, located on Mount Equinox, is just a few minutes down the road from Hildene, so we paid the fee. It's about $30 for 2 passengers in a car, and you get spectacular views all the way up to the top where an observation tower is. Right down there is the monastery. The Church of the Transfiguration has a monastery where monks live a life of silence and do work and pray. And I guess this auto road actually helps fund it. At the top, you'll find a lookout tower that's been here for many decades and includes a church if you would like to worship, along with placards detailing how the church operates. The views from the top of Mount Equinox and where the monastery is juxtaposed on the other side with the Manchester area valley and is absolutely worth the price of admission. The drive is not as crazy as some of the other auto roads we've been on, but it still bears some respect. Well, we're almost down the mountain and we spotted this thing on the way up. A big placard with, I don't know, some writing, and there's a gigantic fireplace and a bunch of picnic tables. I guess there's restrooms here too, in case you want to stop and have a picnic. But yeah, big, huge fireplace with stone seats. I don't know what the story behind this place is. It's the Church of the Transfiguration, and they have their monastery down in the valley for people to live solitary lives as monks. It's very interesting, but the views are spectacular. I would say the road's less crazy than Mount Mansfield, just as good of a view. Not up there with like Mount Washington, but I don't think there's any auto road probably in America that's gonna top Mount Washington. It's still super nice and worth a visit.
Hello.
So, standing behind me is General Stark, the man who led the battle here at Bennington. We were hoping to get up the monument to end our video in southern Vermont with a beautiful view. Unfortunately, the elevator is not working, and you've not been able to go up the stairs since like 1975, so much for that. But a great weekend in Vermont. A huge number of things we managed to jam in to less than 48 hours. Always love coming up here, and it's going to be the first state that I've completed everything on my map. So Vermont, #1.